We are back in action with a brand new podcast just for you to listen to.
That's the start of Emily's Broadway musical.
the Broadway musical that's about our life.
Uh-huh.
Our life together. How we are best friends together. And this is the section with the podcast.
This is it.
This is it.
That's the song.
That song. But but we've written other songs for a musical.
Oh, so many.
We have the Two Baby Jessicas.
Yeah, Two Baby Jessicas. That's about our life.
Yeah, we're just two baby Jessicas.
That's all the words.
Goes into the well and everything else.
And we also have Too Many Butts.
Too Many Butts. That's about working in an office.
Yeah, in the bathroom situation in the office. Too many butts touch those toilets in a day.
It's true. Too many butts. Too many butts.
Most of our songs are just the title.
Well, how are you, Kim?
I'm okay. Well, it's the freaking weekend.
It is the freaking weekend. We skipped a week.
We did. Why?
Wow. I got sick.
Yeah, you did. And you didn't admit it for a little while. You were like, my allergies.
You know, sometimes you just don't know these days. I don't know. I wake up, I feel like crap, and I'm like, am I sick, or is this just how I feel?
Right. Is this just who I am now?
I mean, the struggle is real. I don't know sometimes.
Oh, no,
so it took a little bit, but I genuinely had a bad cough, and yeah, it was not fun.
I feel like we hit a certain age, and there's definitely a cough in play, like 9 out of the 12 months of the year.
Well, for you.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, no.
It doesn't happen to me. But you always have a cough.
But I didn't before.
I know. I've known
I
you
used to be healthy.
I've known you for a long time, and there was a lot of good years there.
No cough.
No cough.
Yeah.
The pre-cough years.
Yeah.
Oh, they were good. They were sweet years.
They were strong.
But now here we are.
Yeah. And then, I mean, everyone's nose is always running, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
And everything always hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Okay. But you know what? Let's put that aside.
Okay.
Because you know what? It's a new day today.
Mm-hmm.
There was an election earlier this week. The people listening know what happened.
They do.
We don't know.
No.
We are sitting in a world of not knowing. So depending on your perspective, it's either we're in like the sweet, sweet past or the bad past.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Someone, if we have time travelers, someone should come in right now and tell us what happened. Nobody came.
Nobody came for us. They're like, stop the podcast, warn the people.
Yeah, Bill and Ted did not just arrive here to tell us anything.
Well, because there's nothing we could do now.
No.
We can't tell you, go vote or don't vote or do this thing.
Yeah, we don't know what the right thing is.
You already did it.
Yeah.
And if you d't vote, like if your decision was not to vote, like, okay, but like we should probably talk about that.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. What's going on?
Participate.
Yeah. This is your country too.
Seriously. Unless you're in another country. We do have listeners who aren't in our country.
Oh, right. Well,
yeah.
I hope you're not laughing at us now.
Yeah, that was, I remember after the 2016 election, remember we were in San Francisco?
We were.
And we were hanging out with people from another country. And they couldn't believe it. We were hanging out with them like the day after election day.
Uh-huh.
And that was the election, the first election when Trump won. And we were in
Trump versus Clinton.
Trump versus Clinton. And these people from another country were just amazed by how intense the whole thing was.
Yeah, like they watched the election from our POV because they were in San Francisco for the election.
Right.
Or the results of the election anyway. And it was interesting to hear their feedback.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see when you hear this.
Right.
We'll all know.
And Halloween is over now.
Halloween is over. It's Thanksgiving time.
It's Christmas now.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Emily,
Kim.
Look, you have your rules and everyone else is overriding them.
It's not right.
Okay, but you know what they say? They say that people that decorate for Christmas are happier. Or that decorate for Christmas earlier are happier than other people.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue.
Yet you, with your firm and fast rules.
I limit the happiness.
You do. You limit your joy. I just want you to know that.
I don't limit my joy. I have plenty of joy.
I don't want a lot for Christmas.
Stop! It's against the law to do that.
Okay.
I know. It's fun. I think my perspective on that is that if you do it too much, then
It's not special?
it's not as special. But if you limit it,
I hate Thanksgiving.
I hate Thanksgiving too.
Why do we do this, guys?
Well, scratch that. I do enjoy hanging out with my family.
Okay.
I like that aspect of it. I'm not a fan of the food.
No.
It's none of my favorite foods.
No. I mean, I like a mashed potato. A what?
I mean, it's all right.
Molly.
I mean, if it's there, I'm happy. Like to have the mashed potato, gravy, cranberry sauce, turkey combo.
Yeah.
Is a sweet combo.
I know. I haven't had a gobbler yet this year.
Ugh. Barf.
Okay. Whatever.
Sorry. I got food poisoning from one of them one
I
time.
know, but they're delightful.
Okay.
They're still quite good.
I know, but you know how it is. Once you get sick from something, you can never go back to it.
I don't know. Ask my sister.
I'll talk to her. I will ask your
She's
sister.
gotten sick off many of things, and I'm sure she still eats them.
Okay, well, I will ask
Jelly
her.
beans, fish sticks.
So what else has been going on?
I had a sleepover with my nieces and nephew last night, and that was the night before last, and it was really fun. And 3 kids is a lot of kids, you guys.
I know. I have them. I have that many.
I'm surprised you don't talk about it all the time. Like, how do you know where they all are all the time?
Well, I mean, my kids are beyond that age.
Yeah, I know, but for a while, they weren't.
Oh, yeah. Like, they're pretty much feral. Like, you just have to let go at a certain point.
You just have to be okay with the fact that one of them's not in your line of sight at all times.
Right. Well, you have to make choices. I mean,
who to save? Is that the choice?
You just have to be like, okay, the big one's probably okay. Like my eldest is a girl, and it was like,
and you know what? It comes back. Then it comes back to us eldest having to be okay again. Like, you know, somebody check on the eldest.
She's fine. You were probably fine too. I didn't make her do work or anything.
No, but at the same time, it's just like, oh, she's fine all by herself.
Well, you never know.
For herself.
Yesterday, I'm talking to my son, and he's got a huge hole in the back of his pants. This is my youngest. And I'm like, what happened? Like, how did this occur?
Right.
And he's like, well, Mom, don't get mad.
Oh, no.
He's climbing a tree.
Oh.
Branch stuck him, and then he was apparently hanging from the tree by his pants because it snagged his pants and it ripped it. But then my other older son and the neighbor kid saved him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's probably a dramatic retelling of the story. I mean, he was probably like 2 feet off the ground.
I don't know.
When you're a kid, everything seems so much more heightened.
I know. I think it is important, though, to let kids live with a little bit of risk.
Okay.
I do. It's
okay.
So many kids these days are so hyper protected with things. You kind of have to.
Kids are hyper protected.
They are.
Don't act like they're taking risks.
My kids go out in the woods and they play, and without people watching them all the time.
Yeah, but they're safe.
They are. No, they are very safe. Hopefully, knock on some wood.
Okay.
Or something. Okay.
All right.
Do we want to talk about a movie? Are we ready to talk about a movie?
I don't know. It's been a minute. We're no longer doing Halloween episodes. We've moved back into the regular scheduled epidos, right?
We've moved back into regular.
So this could be anything.
It could be.
Am I going to hate it?
Yes. Do you want to get into it? You ready?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, let's go. All right, Kim. This is another one of what we like to call an Emily special.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Because as we've both come to find, there's plenty of movies that we watched a lot in my family.
That no one else in the world watched ever. That didn't exist anywhere else except on your street.
No. Everybody watched this.
Okay.
Not everybody, though, because I will say that in researching it, it was thin. It was a little thin.
What does that mean?
There's not a lot of information out there about it.
Okay.
But it does exist, and we can watch it on TV. Like, it is streaming, and it is available. So I did make sure of that.
Have I seen it?
I'm going to guess that you did not see this.
Okay.
Although, so this is a first for us because it is a movie that was a made-for-TV movie.
Oh, okay.
So this is a made-for-TV movie, but it came out originally in 1982, but in 1983 they did release it on video. So you could go to your local video store and rent it, but it never really went to the movie theaters. Okay. So I have no box office information, for there was no box office.
Oh, all right.
Okay. But it did premiere on HBO, which is the home box office.
Home box office,
as we know. And I want to talk a little bit about HBO with this, because I feel like, to me, this movie is quintessentially an HBO made-for-TV movie, and it is for kids.
Okay.
Although one of the things that I'm very interested in this movie, and this movie has been on my list for this podcast since the beginning.
All right.
My sister is going to be very excited about this episode, because I also very much associate my big sister with this movie.
All right.
But this movie, when we talk about the premise of our little podcast here, it's that when we were young, we were exposed to movies where, people weren't as, they weren't as gentle with kids.
Right.
They kind of said, here's the stuff. Yeah, this is a kid's movie because there's some kids in it. The star is a kid. But we're not going to go easy on any of these themes.
Okay.
And you guys are just going to have to deal with it.
Okay.
So this movie is very much like that. It is a sci-fi thriller. And it's based on a novel from 1981 by the same name. So like this movie, the book came out in 1981. Someone was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Write me a screenplay. We're going to put it on the TV. It takes place in Flemington, New Jersey. I don't know why that's important, but that's one of the facts in the limited facts that I was able to find about this movie. Okay, great. Yes. So they started it. It came in on HBO, and it was very much aimed at kids. So it came in at the 7 a.m. time slot.
7 a.m.?
Yes.
That's when it premiered?
That's when it premiered at 7 a.m. on November 8th.
Oh, so almost how many years ago? 82?
It came out, it came out in 1982. So
a lot of years.
A lot of years.
Sure.
I don't know. I can't do math, but it's been a bit.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute since this movie came out. I like this quote about it. It says, while the direction and cinematography are flat and the acting wooden, it's precisely this home movie quality, this banal ordinariness, that makes this film's sinister, conspiratorial undertones all the more believably compelling.
Oh, geez.
So this movie...
Sinister.
Yes. This is a movie that we watched a lot.
All right.
Thought about a lot.
Okay.
Because it's a little unsettling.
Okay.
For a young person.
Okay.
And 1983, I was 6 years old.
Sure.
Yeah. I was a little kid when we watched this movie, for sure. Yes. So there's nobody that famous in it.
That tracks.
There is one person in it who you might know because you have watched you've watched a lot of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
No.
Oh. So the brother in this, he's in the second Nightmare on Elm Street.
That means nothing to me.
I know from my reading that's the one with the homoerotic under/overtones.
That Nightmare on Elm Street?
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how they differentiate it.
That one.
Oh, that one.
No, I don't know.
The one where Freddy gets a little curious. So the movie itself, I can talk a little bit about, my memories of it, and you're never going to guess it.
No,
so I
I'm
might
not.
as well just tell you.
Yeah,
what it
just
is.
tell me.
Okay. The movie is called Anna to the Infinite Power.
Okay.
Never heard of this.
No, obviously not.
So it's a movie about a little girl. She's like maybe middle school age.
Is this a math movie?
It's not a math movie. She's she's good at science. She's like a genius. She's good at science. She's good at piano. But some weird things start happening.
Okay.
And I don't want to go into it too much because I really think we're going to have a lot to talk about after we watch this movie. Because I very vaguely remembered it. I just kind of remembered the feeling of it and feeling like icky about it.
Okay.
And then when I was rereading stuff and read more about overviews of the plot, I've remembered why I felt this way. And it was interesting. The one article that I was able to find about it online actually talked a lot about how it was a good thing that they didn't go easy. And this was a kid's movie that kind of dealt with some really difficult topics.
Okay, such as
cloning.
Oh, wait. That's not what I was expecting you to say.
And the Holocaust.
Okay. Together. Those two things are often found together.
Children in peril.
Sure.
About people lying, how parents lie.
All right.
How, and that's how government is not to be trusted sometimes.
Oh, Jesus.
I know, we went heavy.
Wow.
We went heavy.
And Heather loves this movie?
Heather loved this movie. I don't remember loving it necessarily, but I do remember it being there.
Sure.
Like, it was just a movie that was on a lot.
Always on. Starting at 7 a.m.
At 7 a.m. we were up. We were watching Anna to the Infinite Power. In fact, I remember, like, growing up not even remembering what it was called. And having to, like, look up, what is this movie?
Okay.
That I have this, like, weird memory of.
Okay.
But it's Anna to the Infinite Power. So I do want to talk a little bit about, since I couldn't find out a lot of information about this movie, I did want to talk a little bit about just HBO in general, because I feel like HBO kind of shaped me a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
We had HBO, and in retrospect, it's kind of surprising that we had it when I was so young, because I feel like where we live, we get things a little bit later. We're a little bit more rural. And I don't know. I also feel like how much, like, this was like a paid for service.
Yeah, but I feel like it was like the most common paid for service, and it was like built into like a lot of cable packages. I remember it used to be a big thing. People would advertise on like motel signs, HBO.
Yes.
Cable color TV,
yeah.
HBO.
Yeah. Everyone wanted HBO.
Yeah.
And then pay-per-view came later.
Oh, way later.
Yeah, way later. Yeah, the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to find out a little bit more about what is the history of this HBO thing, because it's just something that has always been a part of our life. So HBO is the oldest subscription television service in the United States that is still in operation, as well as the country's first cable originated television network.
Okay.
So HBO pioneered modern pay television. It launched on, this is funny, it also launched on November 8th, 1972.
Oh, wow.
Right. All this November 8th.
So for its 10th anniversary, it released this marvelous movie.
I know. It was like, what should we do? It's our 10th anniversary.
We've got the 7 a.m. time slot open.
Yeah, let's put this out for the kids.
Yeah.
And it was the first television service to be directly transmitted and distributed to individual cable television systems.
Okay.
So it was kind of like the original conceptual, like, blueprint for premium channel pay television services. And it was sold to subscribers for an extra monthly fee. And it did not accept traditional advertising, and it presented their program without editing for objectionable material. So you could get all the bad shit.
Yep.
You didn't have to get any advertising.
Is that when those like movie warnings start? It was like, this movie contains smoking, nudity.
Yes. So it eventually became the first television channel in the world to begin transmitting via satellite. So in 1980, I wanted to find out how much it cost. Yeah. That was interesting to me. So in 1980, HBO subscribers paid a monthly fee of $6.50.
Oh, that much?
Yes.
Wow.
With cable systems receiving the remainder after HBO took a $3.50 cut. So if you adjust that for inflation, though, it's equivalent to $47.35.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. So people were paying $47 a month for that sweet, sweet HBO.
The hubbo.
They wanted that. So this all came from this guy. His name was Charles Dolan. So he had this company, Sterling Information Services, and it founded the Manhattan Cable TV Services in 1971. And that was just a system that served just Upper Manhattan in New York City. So eventually they started to it just had too many losses, and they weren't able to keep it going. Right. And it looked like, some other people were trying to buy it, and they couldn't figure out how to keep this cable television network going. So then he came up with the concept of the subscription services and offering like unedited theatrical movie,
Where did the movies go before that?
Well, if you think about how there would be a movie would come onto regular TV, but it would often be edited. Like they would take out any bad parts.
Yeah, but You
could only see them in the movie, and then they would bring them back to the movie theaters.
Right. And then you could get them on tape. There wasn't really any place else they were showing them unless there was like a special like Saturday night movie on ABC or something.
Yeah, like they had like those, the Monday night movies or something, where they would buy up these movies. But again, it was
right. This is why our parents always taped them off TV because they weren't accessible.
Right. So yeah, this was just like unheard of to have access to that many movies that were unedited, that you could be that's why it's home box office. Cause it's like, this is the experience just like you go to a movie theater.
Why it's called that. Thanks.
So eventually they got a development grant that let them kind of open it. And they settled it. It was originally going to be called the Green Channel. Okay. But then they settled on home box office or HBO. And it launched on November 8th. And, what was I going to say?
I don't know.
So its inaugural programming event telecast an NHL game between the New York Rangers and the Vancouver Canucks.
Boring.
From Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
I know. Who the heck was into that?
Right. They were like, we're going to go start hot with hockey.
Yeah. The first movie presentation shown was, that came on immediately after the hockey game, was a movie called Sometimes a Great Nation, starring Paul Newman and Henry Fonda.
So just like their history, they've continued to get just the best movies.
Just the best movies. Okay. Yeah, but it kind of started to build its programming, and it expanded to afternoons in 1974. So I guess it was only on at night.
Oh, like there were parts of the day this channel didn't even exist.
Well, that's how TV was.
Yeah, I know.
Where TVs would just go off. So it used to be on just at night, and then they expanded to the afternoons in 1974. And at that point, they imposed a long-standing policy prohibiting films assigned an R rating from being broadcast before 8 p.m. So this kind of overlaps with the idea that there were so many movies in the 80s that probably should have been R's, but weren't R's. Like thinking about Poltergeist. Right. Like that was a movie that's PG. And so that's why I watched that during the day. They would show the movies at night, and then they would show them again during the day.
I do remember when movies would premiere on HBO. It was a kind of a big deal. Like they would premiere at 8:00 on Saturday night, and it was like you would find out what movie that you hadn't seen when it was in the movie theater was going to be coming on TV finally, so you could watch it.
Yeah. So then in 1981, they extended, they started offering 24-hour programming on weekends. Okay. So that's probably why we ended up watching HBO all the time on the weekends when I was a kid. But yeah, they had, if you remember, I can remember the sound of it. Oh yeah. And then they would say, the following is a PG rated movie. And they would always say it, parental guidance is suggested. Right. But I watched so many movies through HBO. I don't know if I would be the person that I am today without HBO. Okay. Now, did you have HBO in your house?
Yeah, we did, definitely. And I remember, I remember especially like in my middle school days, when in the summertime, I would have to stay home with my brother and sister in the summer while my parents went to work. So they would play outside and I would just watch the hubbo.
You're inside. You're like, okay, kids, don't go far.
Which I think is why there's like some weird movies that, weren't popular that we know very well. Because,
like this.
Yeah, well, not this for me, but other things.
Well, see, I think, again, this is probably because in 1982 or 83, if I was 6, my sister would have been 9. Right. So she would have been a little bit more interested in something like this. Although I'm so interested to see this, Kim. Like, I 100% have not seen it since I was a little kid.
Yeah. There was a time, so I feel like during that time when I was watching TV a lot, I feel like that's also when I started watching like Comedy Central. Yes. And that's when that premiered, was like that middle school era, early high school era. And at that time I really felt like, and we've talked about this before, how we didn't really understand all the jobs that were available to us. But at the same time, I felt like connected to movies, and also like I wanted to do something creative or funny, or kind of realized that maybe I was funny because I found that stuff funny. And I would thought for a while, we talked about this pretty recently how we both used to read the TV guide.
Yes.
But
cheers and cheers, baby.
Right.
Cheers and cheers.
So I've really felt like for a while that maybe I would be a movie critic or or something like that, because I read the TV guide and watched a lot of movies. And I was always, and the TV guide would always tell you when something was crap.
Oh, yeah, it did. They pulled no punches, that TV guide.
But I also liked a lot of the movies they said was crap. So I felt like I would be a different type of reviewer that really understood things.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely feel like TV in general, huge part of my upbringing. And I certainly feel like we found each other probably, and our other friends had a connection of humor.
Yes.
And the things we found funny. We did a lot of movie quotes was a big part of our friendships. SNL was a big part. Kids in the Hall. All of that stuff was very much based on this humor, but it wasn't something where a lot of other kids in our school were into the same thing.
No.
Like, we weren't very mainstream. I've been thinking about this a lot recently. I don't think that I've ever truly, like, I don't fit in a box.
No.
Like, I've always been, like, a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, my mom always called me unique. I think that's the nice way of saying you're weird.
Nice. My mom always called me a snob.
Well, she's not wrong. But I feel like part of that is the things we watched and the
definitely.
humor.
And just really weird stuff and things that we would hang on to that were just these like niche, small parts of much larger phenomenon, but we would latch on to like very specific.
What are you thinking of? What's the example you're thinking of?
I think about like, just Satan is good.
Satan is a friend. Burbs. What a good movie.
And
yeah, like little quotes from things. Well, it's funny because my husband is like that too. And I feel like that's kind of why we love each other.
I've also often heard too, if you mimic things, like I like to, when someone says something weird on TV or in a weird accent, I have to try to make that accent.
Yes!
Say that accent. And I feel like that's something too, that why I'm attracted to weird movies, or also have certain lines that stick in my head.
Yes. Well, I have that too, where I have to like mimic things, or I find myself, if I'm talking to someone, I sometimes take on like how they're talking. I find myself doing that.
Right.
And so right now I have there's a new person who works with me who has a very strong accent.
Okay.
And I'm so afraid that I'm going to do it like back at them at some point, just because I also think part of this is why we're good at being ghostwriters. You and I have worked as ghostwriters before a lot. And I think part of the reason why we're good at that is because we can hear other people's voices very easily in our head.
Yeah. I remember when I worked in publishing, I used to have to write rejection letters on behalf of editors.
Oh, God.
And very much being able to take on their voice in those letters.
Because you hear it in your head.
Yeah, you hear it playing back to you and the way they say certain words, and you just focus on and pick up on certain idiosyncrasies in people's talking that you can bring into their writing.
And I'd like to think that skill makes us better.
I don't know.
Maybe it's because we did grow up watching so many things.
Maybe.
And we just watched it and took it in and internalized a lot of it. We'll see.
Well, who will tell us?
I don't know.
How will we see?
At the end of the day, on our deathbeds, we'll be like, this made us better.
This was your skill.
This was your skill.
Congratulations for honing it. Goodbye.
Is that what happens? The moment before you die, someone comes in.
It's like one of those phone calls where they're like, if you don't need anything else, goodbye.
It's like someone comes in, it's like a reviewer with like a briefcase. They're like, okay, who we got here? We got Emily Paul. Let's see. Oh, Emily, you did this. Okay. These were your skills.
Right.
This is what you got. And I think at the end of the day, you'll see you got a lot. Do you have any questions?
Right.
Okay.
And then where do you go?
Okay. All right. Well, let's go back. We are going to watch a movie right now.
Let's do it.
I think it's going to be a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to have fun.
How old is the girl, the lead? About?
In my memory, I feel like she's supposed to be middle schoolish.
Okay. All right. Thanks. That's all I need to picture.
Okay.
Right. Goodbye.
human being. I'm not an experiment.
You are. You're an experiment.
So, Kim, this was a movie I watched a lot as a child. Like a lot.
It was so weird. I don't understand it. I don't understand what happened. I don't understand what it was about. Like I really, towards the end, I was just like, okay, this is trying to teach me something. What is this trying to teach me?
Okay. Do you want me to kind of give you because people listening to this, either they have watched this movie and maybe don't remember it or kind of remember it.
Nobody remembers it.
Nobody?
Nope.
Me and Heather, the only ones. So this movie is about a little girl named Anna Hart. And you meet her, and she's kind of a bitch.
She really is. Everyone in this movie is kind of a bitch.
Yeah, nobody is nice in this movie. And I gotta say, saying that the acting in this movie is wooden is generous.
Very generous, yes.
It's not very good.
No.
But yeah, so little girl Anna Hart, she's very mean, but she's really good at math and science.
And she's probably about 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they really go out of their way to tell you that she hasn't gone through puberty yet.
She hasn't gone through puberty yet, but don't worry, it happens in the movie.
Yeah. In a very symbolic way. So she goes to a special school because she's so freaking smart, but she's also a klepto.
Yeah, she steals a lot of shit and she lies, apparently.
She lies, she steals, and she's really mean.
Yeah, and her parents... Well, her dad, he doesn't really care for her.
Her dad's like, I don't understand this kid.
Yeah. And basically in the beginning, the mom's like, oh, she's so great. We love her. Isn't she the best? And the dad's like, not really. I don't see why you think she's so special. He basically says.
Yeah. Well, the mom really is just like, well, everybody says she's doing this, but she's the best, and they just don't understand how great she is. Right. And the dad's just like, she lies and steals, and she's really mean all the time. Right. Like, I don't really like her.
I don't really care for her.
And I understand why nobody else does either.
Right. And then the brother feels the same way. He's just like, this bitch.
The brother's name is Rowan. Mm-hmm. And he's like a million years older than she is. And he's in what apparently is the biggest industry of Flemington, New Jersey, which is orchestra.
Right.
Because everybody in that town's in orchestra.
Violin.
Well, the dad is a musician.
Yeah, at the conservatory.
But
see, that's what it has to be, Emily. One of the parents has to be in the humanities.
Right. Well, the dad does all these big speeches about how it's so important for the humanities. Right. Because the daughter's really just interested in math and science, but he's like, no, we got to sprinkle in some,
spice,
some musical spice as well.
Some piano spice.
So the daughter, in addition to having these, like being a klepto and having these weird things, she also, flickering lights give her migraines.
I get it.
Yes, that's like another big thing with her. And she starts having these weird dreams where someone who's not her, she's calling someone who isn't her mother.
Right.
And she also is like in some sort of Nazi cafe.
Oh, right. Listening to music,
I think.
Right.
So
Nazi cafe. Okay.
Right? I mean, what else? It is.
Yeah. Nazi cabaret, perhaps.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
That's what they're officially called. At least that's what I've always called them.
Okay.
So she wakes up from this and then she tells her brother everything she says is like the most dramatic thing, and everybody hates her. She's like, Rowan, you don't understand. I had a dream.
Why don't you listen to me?
It was a crazy dream. And Rowan's just like,
yeah, we all have weird dreams. That's what a dream is.
Right. You must have eaten something weird before you went to bed.
Right.
Leave me alone, ya bitch. So, but then he sees on a newspaper that it actually happened.
Right. She had a dream that a plane crashed.
Oh, and then she saw the little girl. That's what made her freak out.
She saw her on TV.
She saw the other little girl on TV, and she looked exactly like her.
Yes. She even had her braids covering her ears.
Which is, yes, that Kim couldn't handle the fact.
Can't handle it.
That her hair was covering her ears all the time.
Well, that's a dumb haircut.
It is, but maybe her ears were weird.
They weren't.
Clone ears are often weird.
Okay. All right.
So she sees that this girl looks exactly like her, that she gets her brother, sees a picture of her, and is like, oh man, you're right.
She lives in Philadelphia. We live close to there. Let's go there.
Yeah. So they get on his motorbike, his Yamaha motor scooter, and they go and they try and see her, but they can't. So the mom, who's a big fan of Anna's, she goes and not the mom, the other mom, Anna's mom, our Anna's mom.
Anna Hart's mom?
Yes.
Okay.
She tells Anna and big brother Rowan that when she was younger, she is a part of an experiment.
Because she's a scientist.
She's a scientist. So she's part of an experiment, and Anna is a clone of this like famous physicist named Anna Zimmerman, who had was on the verge of creating a replicator that would create food and solve hunger, world hunger.
Right.
So they have made all these clones of Anna Zimmerman, but like she died in a fire, which is why she gets the headaches on the flickering lights. Mm-hmm. She died in a fire before she could finish this replicator. So they've been replicating her,
baby Anna's,
in hopes that, because we all know a clone is cloned all the memories and everything else.
Right. So one of them should be able to also create the replicator, right?
As long as they create the right circumstance. So that's why the mom has to be a scientist. The dad has to be a musician.
Right. An artist of some sort.
Yeah. So that's why they're trying to make her into.
Yeah, but the dad has no DNA in this game.
I know, but I guess they're just saying she'll be exposed to it.
Yeah, because, okay, so I think that this comes back in the end, and I think that this movie is really because it has to mean something. It has to. But I really feel like it's a play for nature versus nurture.
You think so?
Yeah, because we'll get there. But let's keep that in your pocket. So. Yeah. Keep that in your pocket.
Okay, yeah. I think that that's definitely in there as well. But so she finds out, her mom tells her she's a clone. Now, the mom didn't tell the dad.
No, never told the dad. Just signed up and forged the dad's signature on the paperwork to be like, yes, we will birth a clone.
We'll birth a clone. So the dad's had no idea. He's just been like, there's something wrong with this girl. I don't really care for her. And
I think this is why dad started going to the delivery room more.
No, he was there. Because even the son's like, I was there when you were born. Because the girl says,
I must visit though.
Well, the mom, the girl, when Anna's trying to figure out, when she first sees that other one who looks like her, she's like, well, it must mean I'm just a twin. And Rowan's like, but I was there. I went to the hospital.
Well, yeah, you went to the hospital. But that's what I'm saying. The dad, something happened in the delivery room. Did that mom birth that baby?
The mom birthed the baby, but they did it like I'm pointing to my uterus.
They put it in through her belly button.
They put it in through her belly button.
Yeah, that's the way babies are made. Yes.
They cloned it, and she said that they put it in like empty eggs, and that's how it grew. I don't know.
Empty eggs. I've never heard anyone say empty eggs in this movie.
Well, you weren't paying attention. Yeah, I think that the whole thing with the mom not telling the dad is probably
really fucked up.
That might be the most messed up thing about this movie.
And then he has to move out.
I know. To the Y.
Right. Yeah, she doesn't have to leave. She's in the right year somehow.
Well, the mom doesn't seem to understand why on earth the dad would be upset when she finally tells him.
You get to participate in this phenomenal science experiment, Dad.
And the dad's first reaction is, I'm relieved.
Yeah.
I'm actually relieved.
She scares the shit out of me. Basically, that's what he says. Yeah. And he's like, frankly, I'm glad that this doesn't come from my gene pool.
Well, he's like, I've been up at night reading books about psychology, just like, where did we go wrong? What is wrong with this person? Right. It all makes sense now. Mm-hmm. You've done me a favor. I'll be at the Y.
Look at her. She can't play piano with feeling. She plays the piano.
Oh my God. That whole part. This is another thing too. Even though you have this premise of this weird thing going on, throughout this movie, the adults in this movie, the parents, any adult in this movie, are so mean to the kids. Like even though she's a clone and she's real smart and she's kind of a jerk, she's still a child.
She is.
And the adults in this movie couldn't be any meaner to her.
Right.
Like the dad, she's playing piano because they have this neighbor who moves in across the street, who's kind of weird.
Michaela.
There's something going on with Michaela. She's always wearing leotards.
That's right.
A lot of leotards on Michaela.
But I get it. If someone lived in my neighborhood and always wore leotards, I'd be like, let's stay away from that lady.
Yeah, let's not go to her house for piano lessons. But Michaela comes over and she's a world-renowned, she's a pianist. And they have the little girl play piano for her and the Michaela plays. And the dad's basically like, Anna, you see how she's playing? She's actually good.
Right. You could learn a lot from this woman.
Yeah.
Because you suck at playing piano because you don't play with enough feeling.
Right. So I'm trying to think then what happens. There's all kinds of weird subplots. Rowan is up for some sort of like music scholarship where he can go to Japan. Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
But that's like a big deal.
Yeah, I don't understand why he had to be in it.
But the mom keeps saying, so when the mom tells them, she's like, listen, they did this before. You're like the second group of Annas.
Right.
Something went wrong with the first group of Anna clones, and they all died
of cancer.
And they said if something is going to go wrong, it's going to happen after puberty.
And both Anna Hart and I say, what does puberty have to do with it?
Right. But there's a lot of puberty talk in this.
Yeah.
So much puberty talk.
Well, and then there's also a scene.
Well, so then...
Okay.
So I would say that this is probably an Act 2, kind of on the upswing of Act 2. Anna, once she finds out she's a clone, she kind of wants to change.
Yeah, she kind of starts to, like, she accepts it, and then she starts to move on, and she's like, I'm not going to steal anymore.
Right. And I'm going to really put some feeling into this
like
music.
They have this whole scene where we've seen her steal a couple things from people, but then we see her in like a mall, and she like looks at some makeup, which she does try on before she purchases. That is stealing too.
But then she does buy
But then she's like, I would like to buy this, please.
And she has a weird smile.
And we're supposed to be like, oh, she's changed.
So, but in this montage scene, it's her and her brother who have a weird relationship.
Yeah, they touch too much.
Yeah, a little weird. But he has his motorcycle, and they're riding the motorcycle, and they have a red, like, if you could imagine, like a red dragon kite. So it's got a big long tail in the sky, and they're riding with that. So it's like, obviously she's going through puberty.
Her period. That's her period.
And then all of a sudden she's wearing the makeup.
And a red jacket.
And I think that they put a little padded bra on her. Because all of a sudden
they give her little boobies. And they put makeup on her. And then they tucked her hair behind her ears.
They did.
And she flew that red kite.
She flew that red kite and was like, I'm here.
I'm bleeding.
Puberty.
Right.
And that's when it's like things are going wrong with the experiment. And she has to go see a doctor every once in a while, I guess, to make sure everything's going right with the experiment.
Yeah, and then they put her on this piece of glass face down.
Well, the doctor calls and tells the mom, like,
things are going wrong.
It's happened.
Yeah.
Puberty.
P.S. Bad news. I don't know if you saw the kite, but
it's as we thought.
You're going to need to go to the market and buy some pads, and also things are going wrong in the experiment.
Yeah. So you're going to have to get her to Albacore Island.
That's right.
Albacore Island, which is
like an insane asylum across a bridge.
Right. Which is so...
It's like a Disney bridge, too.
I have such vivid memory. Like, the whole time we were watching this movie, and like I said, I've not seen this since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Such vivid memories. It gave me like a weird feeling of being in my parents' living room when I was a kid. Like, that's just what it made me feel like. But I remember that it's like a big, long bridge, suspension bridge, but it's not that wide. It's only wide enough for like a golf cart. And that's how they ride back and forth. And they go with this nurse with this comically huge nurse's hat. And they take them to like this, it looks just like a campus, but there's nothing there. It's so like dystopian and weird.
It's like an asylum.
Yes. And then she's locked in a room with mean nurses.
Yes, everyone's very mean there.
So mean. That are like, eat your food. No one's going to call you. And they're doing all these experiments. And that's when she gets her. They do experiments. She's like laying on a plate of glass.
Yeah.
And her hair is all around.
She has to get scanned.
Right. So then the brother is going to have his big audition for the thing.
But he blows it off.
Because he finds out that like...
They're going to destroy Anna. Anna overhears a conversation.
Right.
That she's going to be destroyed on the next day.
Right. And like, but Rowan's has some suspicions because like they're not able to get in touch with the doctor. Like something weird, something hinky is happening.
Sure.
So he goes and he sees that there's like an island and he's like, okay, I'm just going to swim. So he just swims.
Yeah.
And then he gets to her room. And she's just like, hey, get in here. I overheard they're going to kill us all tomorrow.
Let me rub your back.
Yeah. She's like, do you want me to rub your back?
Yeah.
And he's like, not right now. Maybe later, though.
Not right now. Not right now. Appealing, but no.
Yes. Well, so then they get, because she's always locked in her room, but she's figured out how to escape from the room by stuffing tissue paper into the door thing, which I said to Kim, my sister and I like experimented with that when we were kids.
Did it work?
I mean, I don't think we had super great doors in my house anyway.
Got it.
So, but yeah, I think it probably did. So then they wake up and the mean nurse is like, get up. You got to go talk to the doctor.
Right.
And they go and the doctor tells them everything.
Well, not everything.
And he's like, well, you guys can go. It didn't work. The experiment didn't work.
The Dr. Jiffer or whatever.
Jeffer.
He says, he's basically like, yeah, it didn't work because all of the Annas started becoming individualized.
Yes.
Individualated. And they each became their own selves. So the experiment was a failure. So basically, like, we're going to let y'all go. But you're legally obligated to change your name.
Which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Like, where? Let me see the paperwork.
Because why? Why do I have to change my name? Because someone's going to see two of us that look exactly like together and we both have the same name, Anna, and they're going to be like, wait.
What's happening?
But if we have different names,
they'll never understand.
They'll never get it. They'll just be like, well, that's weird that they look exactly alike. So she decides she's going to change her name to Eve. Eve. Yeah. And then their mom and dad come and get them and they're dressed the same for some reason.
Right. And they all run across that bridge and embrace.
And it's just a wonderful family moment. Then cut to.
We back up a little bit and we see Clara / Michaela watching the video stream.
Right.
Also dressed as a nurse.
Or lab worker.
Okay.
And
she's with Dr. Jiffer.
She is. Jiffer? Okay.
And they're watching the parents reunite. And basically the doctor's like, too bad they're going to be dead in 24 hours.
Yeah. And she's like, what? She's all crying. She's like, well, I don't understand why you have to kill them.
Kill these babies.
And I don't understand why I have to wear this lab coat over top of my leotard. Right. And he's like, well, it's because we can't, they are proof of our experiment. Just their existence is proof.
Right.
And the parents know. So everybody has to die.
So all the parents will be in horrible accidents within the next 24 hours. But don't worry, their names of their kids are not Anna anymore. So no one's going to think it's a weird coincidence or something like that. I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense. But then you find out that Michaela is one of the first Anna clones.
Yeah, and she's doing it, guys.
She replicated.
She figured out how to make the replicator. She just needs a little more time.
She's got leverage, though, and she says, you're not going to kill any of them.
Right.
I'm going to do all this stuff, and I'll make you your replicator.
Right.
But you can never hurt those babies.
That's right.
Because they're all me. We're all one.
Sure.
And then that's it. And then it kind of freeze frames on Dr. Jeffer's like, well, you've given me a lot to think about.
Right. But he also knows that this Michaela was sent out to work with all the clones.
Right. She helped them individuate.
Individuate? That's not a word.
I think that's the word they use in the movie, though. I know. It's a weird word that they use.
Okay. Well, she helped them all become their own true selves.
Right. And we haven't even talked about concentration camps, because that's a big part of this movie too.
We talked about the Nazi cabaret,
but there's lots of, because Anna Zimmerman, the person that they're all cloned after, was in a Nazi concentration camp, and she was there with another woman who wasn't her sister, but I thought it was supposed to be her sister, but it was another woman who was taking care of her, who was a composer who composed this song called Reverie.
But that was the same lady, wasn't that Michaela?
No,
it wasn't her.
No.
Oh, they look too much alike. I hate when they do that.
I know.
Give them different color hair. Otherwise, I can't keep up.
Yeah, they did all look very much the same.
Right.
And also, it's the same kind of age difference between her and the. Yeah. So that's the movie.
I thought Clara was Michaela.
Clara was who's Clara? Oh, yeah, Clara was the woman who wrote Reverie, which is this piano song that they play throughout. That's going to be stuck in my head for the rest of, at least the day.
Right.
Yeah, maybe more than the day. I don't know.
So then you see why I think that they were talking about nurture, how nurture is the winner, because nurture enabled them to individualize.
Yes.
like, it didn't matter that they were the same
DNA.
They were the same nature. That didn't matter. It was how they were raised and who they were raised by and the family that brought them up and the impacts on their lives that made them who they are.
Absolutely. And you know what else?
What?
Was like a very advanced thing that I think they were touching on in this movie is that trauma is in your DNA.
Yeah.
It's just in there.
Yeah.
Like, because there's no reason why your clone should be impacted by the fact that you were in a Nazi concentration camp.
Right.
And yet,
yeah,
it's like the song freaks her out. She's very upset by it. The flickering light because she died in a fire. So like she can't look at flickering light.
It's generational trauma.
It's generational trauma and it's written into the DNA.
Yeah, interesting.
But how'd they get her DNA if she died in a fire? Bones.
Dry bones.
Running theme in this podcast, the power of the dry bone.
I don't know. And also the guy that they made the doctor was Bernie from Cocoon.
He was.
And he wasn't convincing to me as a smart doctor.
He really had like a half a day on set, if that.
Yeah. He was too affable.
He was too affable. He's like, come in, kids. Hello. Have yourself a cookie.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, you're legally required by no contract to change your name and to change schools. But don't worry, you can explain that away because you're not doing well in school anymore. Because you went through puberty and now you're not good at math and science anymore.
Oh my God. There's so many weird messages in this movie. The other thing is, like, first of all, your parents are liars. Also,
well,
your mom. Definitely.
The dad didn't do anything wrong.
Poor dad.
The dad was just feeling weird about this kid. He didn't know why.
Right.
He thought he was just a bad dad for 12 years.
I guess,
turns out, no connection to this clone.
The message to dad is, trust your gut.
Right.
You don't like that kid?
You asked for that DNA test.
But I also thought it was interesting that, okay, the whole thing with Anna Zimmerman is that she's in a concentration camp. Mm-hmm. And that is something that, like, they're trying to replicate all of these little things in her life so that she grows up with, being able to make this replicator.
Right.
The one who is able to grow up and have that replicator, her parents were killed by not Nazis, but this science establishment.
They were.
So I feel like the government science-y people, mm-hmm. Dr. Gilman. Yeah.
Gilf.
Yeah. He is like, they're the Nazis.
Right.
They killed the parents. And he has inadvertently created this secret sauce that has now made this Anna able to build a replicator.
Right.
But it's weird that they are so quick to be like, that's the message to the kids. Scientists and doctors are bad.
Right.
And they are akin to Nazis. Doing weird experiments.
Yeah, this movie was wild.
Right?
And it was not an after school special. It was a made for TV movie.
It was a made for TV movie on the 7 a.m. time slot on HBO. 4 kids.
4 children.
With children. Amazing. I mean, it was not even, it was certainly thought of as a kid's movie.
Was it?
Yeah, like it's a kid's movie. It was like a kid's movie.
Right.
We watched it a lot.
Sure.
Anna to the infinite power.
And do you think, and it was meant to teach you what?
Trust nobody.
Right. No one is safe. Even your own mom.
No one is safe. That puberty is going to rock your world.
And you no longer be smart and sensible.
Never.
And just wear lipstick and show your ears.
That's all you want to do.
That's all.
That's all. Be a little sexy.
Maybe rub your brother's back. I don't know. Things are going to get weird.
It's not her brother. I mean.
Oh, stop. It's her brother.
But yeah, that was the movie.
Yeah, that was the movie.
That was the movie.
I don't know what else to say. I feel like there's so many things in this movie, but.
Would you recommend? Well, okay. Here's my question to you. What would you do if you found out you were a clone?
If I was a clone?
Yeah, you find out you're a clone. You're watching the news, and all of a sudden there's like, wait, is that me?
I'd be mad because I would be like, you cloned and made this life. You chose this. This was something that needed to be replicated.
But no, what if there was like someone else, Kim out there? It would have to be Kimberly because you have to be named the first name of your clone, the person that you were cloned.
Right. Another Kimberly
who did something amazing. and they're trying to get the same thing out of you.
Right, and they're failing. I'm not living. It's like my real life. I'm not living up to the hype.
You have.
No. I'm a disappointment to everyone. I'm just kidding.
You are not, especially not the Kimberly.
The other Kimberly.
The other Kimberly. So you would be mad. Would you like confront your mom? Your mom would be like, Kimberly.
She'd be like, oh, I'm such a bad mother. I guess I'm just a bad mother for making you a clone then. Okay.
It was an opportunity, right. Kimberly.
Right. I don't know what you wanted from me.
I mean, we thought the experiment was going to go well.
Right. And you would be creating the replicator.
Right. That you would be a famous physicist.
Right. For replicating stuff.
But then you had to go and get into bands.
Then you had to have puberty. And all of a sudden you didn't like math and science anymore. Thanks a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got interested in boys.
That's right.
Well, so I have an experience where
you were a clone.
I feel like a lot of people always say that, oh, weren't you just so and so, or like I had this happen.
Just so and so?
Didn't I just see you down at something? And I'm like, no.
In Cape May County?
It happens in Cape May County. It's happened my entire life. People have thought that I was somebody else.
Yeah, because you're plain white.
But does that happen to you? Does that happen?
Yeah, it happens to me a lot.
People do say, didn't I just see you?
Uh-huh. And I'm always like, oh, this is where I went to high school. And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh, well, I work here and here. And they're like, no.
Okay.
It happens to plain white people.
But I've told you the thing with like that painting that was done in that advertisement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was weird.
Right.
Where there was
and then when you were babysitting those kids and they had that Playboy of you.
I just got real freaked out.
You held very still for a minute. You're like, what?
Wait, what? I don't remember that. A good one. Good one, Tweet.
Yeah,
good one. Yeah. So, interesting movie though, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I say watch it.
I say watch it too. This one should be plucked from the annals of history.
It's crap, but it's fascinating.
Don't expect anything out of the acting.
Oh, no.
The dialogue.
Or the plot. No, I mean.
The plot's a little wild.
Yeah, but you should watch it.
Oh my God. I think everybody should watch this movie.
I think so too.
I don't know why it's not more popular. My hope is that we put out this podcast and people
start talking about it again.
I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, I started to look up stuff on my phone about it, and then I clicked on this one website, and basically like this thing came up. It was like, your iPhone has been hacked. I was like, that seems about right for this movie.
Yeah, I told you when I was trying to do research for it, I really didn't find very much. The brother is really the only person, aside from that teacher. She's in like Boston Legal or something.
Yeah, and she was in the Death at a Funeral movie.
Right. And the mom was in something too. So I guess other people had things.
Yeah. My husband came out and he was like, hey, that guy's from Freddy too, or whatever.
Right. And I was like, the one with the homoerotic undertones? And he's like, I don't know. There was BDSM or something. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But, and they start talking to us about Freddy's claws, and I think we both zoned out.
Yeah, we stopped listening.
But it was,
I'm glad you brought it.
Thank you.
I'm going to think about it a lot.
I'm going to think about it too. I feel like I did think about it a lot as a kid. The things that I thought about a lot that really, like, I remember being really bothered by the ending when they talked about killing the family and killing the parents. Like, that really disturbed me a lot as a little kid. And I feel like it's left a little ambiguous at the end of it.
Because that lady has a lot of pressure on her to create the replicator. Otherwise, those families will die.
Right. And so it's kind of, and like, it's not like the doctor's like, okay, let's shake on it. We won't kill anyone. He's kind of like, well, you've given me a lot to think about. Yeah. And that's it.
Right.
So it's like, he could still
bring in one of those fake legal contracts at any time.
Yeah. Like, he could definitely go and kill.
Yeah. How would she know? Or just keep her hostage.
Yeah, but she don't have to make the replicator.
And there she's on Albacore Island. No one will know she's there.
No, just eating tuna fish.
Yeah, albacore tuna fish.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Isn't it? Albacore, or is albacore a separate kind of fish?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But they're in the same kind of can.
White albacore?
Yes.
Right. Plain white albacore.
Plain white albacore. That's us. That's the name of our band. That's right.
I don't know. The name of my band might be Nazi Cabaret.
Nazi Cabaret. Oh my God. Yeah, it's definitely a movie worth watching. You can stream it on several different
Prime. Freebie, Tubi. It's all available. And it's free. Shocking.
Can we call like any of those outlets and just be like, how many times has someone watched this movie so far this year?
Are we the only ones?
We might be.
Now we're on a list.
No, that we definitely are. We look out the window and there's someone like suddenly puts on their
that
sunglasses.
looks like us. Our clone shows up.
Oh my God. What if we were in like in Disney World and all of a sudden we like looked over and there's two women and they're exactly like us and they found each other and they're friends too. So like the friendship's the part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. It'd have to be.
I'm sure it'll happen.
Okay.
Next trip. We should probably go soon just to make sure.
Okay. We probably should just to say. Yeah. Now, do you want to hear how this movie connects to Christian Slater?
Yeah. I'm very curious about this.
Okay. Let's do it. All right, Kim, you know that we have to start with our favorite, Brother Rowan, Mr. Mark Patton.
Okay, Mark. Bring it, Mark.
Good luck finding pictures of him.
Okay.
Online. You will.
I will. Yeah, he was in a Freddy Krueger movie.
He was. He was also in a movie called Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, which also starred Cher.
Okay.
Yes. So Cher was in that movie. She's also in a movie called Mermaids.
She was.
With Winona Ryder.
Oh.
Who?
You chose Winona Ryder again.
Kim.
You pick her every time.
Kim. There were so few paths.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just a little disappointed, that's all.
I can tell. I feel sad about it.
Well, maybe you'll do better next time.
I'm going to try.
All right.
Okay. Well, what should we tell the people?
Hey guys, you should follow us. You should give us a rating or a review. We have many of them and we like them and we're at all 5 stars and you don't have to keep giving us 5 stars, but we like it.
We do. Thank you.
And you can follow us on Instagram. A lot of you already are, which is awesome. Leave us comments. We like to hear from you when you watch our movies.
Yeah, there's also people might think that we are younger than we actually are, which I like.
Well, people think that when we watch these movies and don't understand them, it's because we're too young to possibly understand them.
Right.
And it's just like, no, they're just not good movies.
They're not good movies. Right. And it's not that we don't understand them.
Right.
We understand them all too much.
We fully get them.
Right. We're looking at them through different eyes. Yeah. And these eyes are telling us, this is not that good.
But a lot of people on the internet are shitty to you when they think that you are too young to know better. Yeah, that's what I've learned.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're just like, well, meh.
I know. I started to write back to someone who was like, well, maybe this was the wrong, maybe you're in the wrong demographic. And I wanted to be like, what? The hot middle-aged woman demographic? Is that the demographic you speak of, sir?
Because that's the one I am firmly in. Yeah. So you should definitely do all those things. You should like us, follow us, just view all of our content. Buy yourself, it's the holiday season's upon us.
Yeah.
You know what would be a great gift for someone?
Some Con merch.
Some Con merch.
Maybe we should make some special holiday merch or something.
Yes.
I'll look into it.
Can you make some sweatpants?
Yeah.
I need some new sweatpants.
Okay. What do you want them to say on it?
Con.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the butt? Like one on each cheek?
Just say Connie on the butt.
Okay.
Maybe. Con on the butt. I don't know about that. I've never had a pair of pants that had words on the butt. Have you?
No. Why would I want anyone to look at my butt?
It says look away. Right? So that's it. But we appreciate you guys. We love that you continue to patronize us. What?
Sure. Okay. Patronize?
Stop
patronizing me. But anyway, if you are a clone.
Oh, you should be really, you know what? Embrace your past, but also your present and your future.
Be an individual. Don't be like the other clones. You don't have to be. Just because you're a clone doesn't mean you're the same as everyone else. You have your own hopes, your own dreams, your own passions.
Right. Be a confident clone.
That's right. Who does her own thing.
Right. Who's not controversial and plays music for Nazis.
That's right. Don't go to a Nazi cabaret.
And don't live on Albacore Island. It's weird.
Right. Yeah. And be nice to your family. Okay?
Okay. All right, guys. Well, we love you. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Controversial. Confidently